back to my channel. Today I just wanted to do a quick update, kind of a recap of what happened yesterday before I filmed the video that I put up as well as after. And I also want to share some footage that I've collected from, various people sending me footage on WhatsApp throughout the day yesterday, as well as things that happened on social media, just so that you guys can get a general feeling for, I guess, everything that went down. The earthquake that hit yesterday was a 7.7 magnitude, and it was actually the strongest earthquake that we've had in the Caribbean since 1946. At that time there was a 7.9 magnitude that happened off the coast of the Dominican Republic. So yeah, with that said, I just kind of wanted to take you guys through the experience, share some video footage with you, and I guess let you know what we're hoping for as far as going forwards, what may or may not happen, and what kind of changes we need to make here on the island. So, to give you a rundown of the day yesterday, everything seemed pretty normal from my perspective, though I've now had multiple people, family members, friends, and things I've read online, tell me that there were multiple people reporting that the waters were just weirdly calm that day. My dad reported it as light glass. I also read a report on, what's this website I've been using? volcanodiscovery.com, which does like live updates anytime a new activity is recorded. And you can also put an I felt it report in on volcanodiscovery.com. And quite a few of the I felt it reports are also reporting, from people who were out at sea that day, that the water was really calm and glassy, like in a weird way where like there was just nothing happening on the water. So, and it was actually kind of breezy yesterday, so it's weird that there would be no waves, no action whatsoever on the water, that it's just completely like glass. My dad also reported, because he works at one of the quarries, there's quite a few limestone quarries on the island, and my dad works in one of them, and he said that they have a natural lake there by the quarry, and he said that before the earthquake happened, the lake was also weirdly like flat. Like for a breezy day, there was just no movement happening on the water. And he also said he noticed that it was really low. And what we know here in the island is that we have a lot of caves and a lot of, we really are on a rock. There's not a lot of soil before you hit rock here in Cayman. And a lot of those rocks are porous. And so if you ever go tour the crystal caves here on the island, you'll see that there are lots of caves and that we didn't know the extent of them, how widespread they were and how deep they went down. And we are now, especially with this event, realizing just how deep some of those caverns in our foundation go down, and that some of them connect to the ocean. So I think that might be what's going on with some of these lakes, because that was not the only report I heard that the lakes were weirdly low or that the water levels changed during the day. So those are the only red flags, or not even red flags, they might have been seen by people as like weird kind of coincidences, but to me, I think these might be signs we should look out for in the future. Anyway, so everything was just like really weirdly calm and quiet yesterday, and then just after 2 p.m. around 2:10, I was sitting right here at my desk in this exact spot. Benny was lying down in his bed beside me, and sometimes we live in a really quiet neighborhood here, and sometimes people, if there's a house under construction or renovation or something in the area, a big dump truck full of dirt or whatever it's carrying will pass by the house, and it does make kind of like a rumbly noise, and you can almost feel the vibration of the heavy machinery passing by. But this was different than that. For a split second, I had that feeling of, oh, it must just be a truck passing by. And as soon as it was longer than a split second, I looked down at Benny, who was kind of looking around like, what's going on? And I was like, it's an earthquake. And I could hear my grandmother in her bedroom at the same time going, what is that? What is that? And I said, Mama, it's an earthquake. And I grabbed Benny up and ran out the door. And she wasn't moving very fast. She was really like frazzled and worried, and she seemed dizzy because it all happened really fast. Like it went from like just a rumble to like everything like shaking, and then it switched to this like wave motion. I swear to you, if this was the ground, it was doing this. Okay? It felt like the house had just been put on top of a wave, but also the ground turned into jello. So like as much as my feet were on solid ground, the ground was moving like this. Like the concrete under my feet, I could feel one foot go up, and then the other foot go up, and then one come down, and the other one come down. And you could see the walls doing this, and the doors were just swinging open and shut, like fully open and shut. I really, in retrospect, wish I grabbed my camera and got video footage of this, but when that kind of thing happens, you grab the people that are most important to you before you reach for any things. I don't think I even... No, I did have my phone in my hand because I was actually... I was about to take a break because Fred called me, so I was about to clock out from work when all of this happened. So I had just picked up the phone and it started, and I said to my work people, because I work online, I was like, we're having an earthquake, I have to go. Just so that nobody was like, where the heck did Jasmine go? So yeah, so I grabbed Benny. I had my phone in my hand. I think I stuck it in my shirt or something because my hands were full with dogs by the end of all this. Yeah, so I feel like I must have tucked my phone in like a pocket or in my shirt or something, because I grabbed Benny, I ran outside, I grabbed Mama, I helped her into a doorway because I didn't think we were going to get her all the way out the front door in time. She just seemed really dizzy. And she, like I said, she was frazzled. She like wasn't moving very quickly. She was a little disoriented. So I grabbed my grandmother. I got us in a doorway. At first I thought, I've heard somewhere on TV before, maybe it's like an old documentary or something, that a safe thing to do is to get into a bathtub and like put a comforter or a mattress or something on top of yourself. Maybe that was for a tornado. Anyways, that was my first thought. But as soon as I like looked into the bathroom and remembered that we have a glass door on our bathtub, I was like, that ain't safe. So I said to her, we need to get outside where there's nothing above us that could fall on us. And I could just tell we weren't going to make it that far. So I got her into a doorway. We both, kind of huddled together in the doorway, and I held on to her to make sure she wasn't going to fall over or anything. And we just waited it out. And Cosmo was right by my feet. He just kind of looked up at us. Cosmo didn't seem to realize that anything was happening. Cosmo was the most blissfully unaware creature on this entire island when this happened. So, but Benny was in my arms, and he also seemed fine. He was kind of looking around like, what the heck is going on here? But he was fine. His tail was still wagging. I think he just thought we were all cuddling together for some reason. And legit, we just like felt what seemed to be like shaking jello underneath our feet for a solid, I would say, 2 to 3 minutes. In the moment, I think I estimated that it was like 1 to 2 minutes because I put in an I felt it report. But in retrospect, the more that I think about it and think about everything I actually did in that space of time, I think it just felt like it flew by, but it was actually like a few solid minutes. So I'm gonna guess about 3 minutes. And it was definitely, in the moment, the scariest experience of my life. Like, there's just this feeling of knowing that it's not like if I get out of the house, this will stop. Even if I got out of the house, the ground could still open up underneath my feet. Like, all of these things are running in my head. Like, what if a sinkhole opens up underneath us? What if the foundation cracks? What if the roof comes in? And then I thought, are we any safer outside? Because the sinkhole could still open up underneath you. Trees could start falling over. Like, you don't know how bad it's going to get when it's already that bad. So we just huddled together, hoped for the best, and then everything just goes right back to a dead calm, and you're just like, now what? So I went outside, and my neighbors, they were already outside at the end of the driveway where no trees could fall over on them. So I first things first, went back inside, grabbed my grandmother, the dogs, whatever, grabbed some water bottles, and we said, okay, let's go outside and let's wait it out because there could be aftershocks. And in that moment, I realized my phone was about to die because I actually went and ran some errands yesterday morning in town, so I had my phone going all day. I had to record a legal conversation, so my phone was nearly dead, and I was like, oh crap. So we started calling family and stuff, making sure everybody's okay. The people who are on Flow, which is one of our cell phone service providers, we all seem to be fine, but anybody who was on Digicel, I don't know if one of their towers went down, or I don't know, maybe their servers got affected or something, but nobody was able to get in contact with anybody who was on Digicel for a while. So we were really scared about certain family members because we didn't know where people were. We didn't know what damage was like in other parts of the island because, things were starting to show up on social media, but half the island didn't have service. So anyway, it was just a lot of heck. It was about an hour of just feeling like everything was crazy, and we were just trying to make sure everybody was okay. And then all we could hear from our house was sirens on the main road. So I immediately thought like there must have been a lot of accidents, like cars swerving off the road when this happened. Before I even saw any of the pictures and videos of sinkholes, I thought to myself like there could be lots of sinkholes, because that's something I've heard of before, that happens with earthquakes. So I was really worried about that. And it turns out there were quite a few, but luckily like nobody ended up in one, which is great. I was very lucky. While we were outside, we started to get alerts, because I was checking, Volcano Discovery, I was checking USGS, all these different websites for updates, and we started to see alerts come in for tsunami warnings. And all of a sudden, the scariest moment in my life was refreshed, where I was like, okay, the earthquake was scary, but as long as we were in a safe place when it was happening, somewhere where like we didn't end up in a sinkhole or nothing could fall down on us, it wasn't that bad. But as soon as I heard the word tsunami, that scared the daylights out of me, because Cayman is a flat little rock. The highest elevation in Cayman is the Bluff, which is over in East End, and it is 141 feet high. That is the very highest elevation on this entire island. Now the island itself is only 75.68 miles squared. And in some parts of the island, basically from where I am and west, kind of the arm of the island, I guess I'll put a picture of the map up here. So the island itself is only 75.68 miles squared, and if you look at the island, you will see just how low-lying it is and just how small basically this entire arm of the whole west half of the island. It's just tiny. There's like, if you were on this whole stretch right here and a tsunami hit, there's literally no hope, because you're barely a few feet above sea level. Look how tiny that little piece of land is. The ocean will just swallow that up if it comes over it. So the highest point of the island is over here on East End, and we have the bluffs around here. So as much as that's the highest point of the island, look where the earthquakes happened. This is Jamaica, and the earthquakes were all taking place. The big one happened around here, and all the little ones have been slowly traveling closer and closer to us like this, in this direction. I'll actually show you right here. So as you can see, that's Grand Cayman, that's Little Cayman and Cayman Brac. Here is Jamaica, and you can see the earthquakes. This is the big one, this is the 7.7, and these were the first few aftershocks, and then this was the next big one, that kind of dark circle, if you can see it there, that happened around 5 p.m. And all of these have been aftershocks that have been happening since, overnight. Last time I counted, there were, I think, 17. That was as of this morning. I don't know if any more have happened this morning. I hope not. So yeah, with that said, if a tsunami was going to happen, it would have come from where that big earthquake happened, right here, and it would have come in this direction, straight towards East End. Kaplow! So if you went to the highest point on the island thinking that you'd be safe from the tsunami, you would actually end up getting the brunt of the impact. So truly, as soon as I heard that there was a tsunami coming and that it was coming from that direction, my heart sank, because I was like, if we can't get on a plane, there's nowhere to go. And at first, there was no detail on how big it was going to be, so people were getting really scared, myself included. And then they released information saying, okay, it might only be about 1 meter high. So then they were telling us, if a tsunami comes that's 1 meter high, as much as that doesn't seem like it's a lot of water, it's the force of the tsunami that you have to worry about, the lateral motion, not necessarily how much water. Obviously, more water equals more force, but even just a few inches of water rushing can sweep you out, like it can literally sweep your feet out from underneath you. So 1 meter was still something to worry about, and they said if you were within 3 miles of shore, you need to get further inland. Now that's great advice for people in Jamaica, where there's a lot more landmass. And if you look at Jamaica, it's considerably bigger than Cayman. So they had places to go, and Jamaica also has some mountain ranges, so like Jamaica had hope. But if there was a tsunami, we were screwed. There's the only place you can go that's even close to 3 miles inland is kind of the middle of this sort of fat part of the island. This road here is called Frank Sound Road. The name is coming, there we go. And you could have tried to kind of go to the middle of Frank Sound Road and hope for the best. But as you can see, this little marker down here is 2 kilometers. And so you're not really getting that far inland. I don't think that would have helped much either, not to mention that area is swampy, so it would have just flooded. So that was the scariest part for me. That was the biggest wake-up call, is that an earthquake, it will rattle us, but it's, you know, this island is a rock. So in some porous areas we'd have sinkholes, but overall, my dog is dreaming. I don't know if you can hear that. He's barking out there in his sleep. But yeah, overall, it was not super life-threatening. I want to start sharing with you guys some of the video footage that I got from various people on WhatsApp who messaged me, from different social media, and that has been posted publicly online. So I just want to state for the record that anything that was sent to me, I didn't know who to ask for permission to use it, so I'm going to share it with commentary so that it is fair use. But that said, if you see one of your videos here and you would like me to credit you, please just ask me. Just DM me on Instagram at Jasm, or comment down below, and I will absolutely include any links that you would like in the description of this video, as well as I can pin a top comment as well, just because I know that a lot of people down here are doing the social media grind, and I am 100% about supporting each other as creators. So yeah, if you want credit for a video, please just send me the link to show that you were the first person to post it, and then any social media accounts that you would like credited, and I will absolutely do that. So with that said, the first video I want to show you guys is of that mini tsunami I was talking about. So this video I found posted on an I Felt It report. So on these reports you can attach videos or photos that support your claims, just to show evidence. And this person shared a video from their Nest camera of this mini tsunami. They're saying it was about 4 feet of water. So just to show you the kind of power that only 4 feet of water has, I'm not going to play the whole video because it goes on for a little while, but the boat proceeds to crash into the dock a few times. I really thought it was going to get yanked off of its chain and just drift away. But you can see there was a little bit of damage done. I also want to show you guys, I don't know who took this video. If you took this video, please let me know. I'll credit you. But this one, first of all, it cracks me up just because of the sound. So I'm going to play it first, and you can hear this guy go boom bakala as loud as he can. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh because I was just as terrified as he was in the moment. Probably not as terrified because this wasn't happening in my backyard. But I definitely laughed when I heard that, because that's just such a Cayman thing. The fact that like he's yelling a Jamaican term and then goes off to rant in Spanish, it's like the most Cayman thing. Anyways, I'm gonna play the video for you guys now, and it's gonna show you what happened to our water tanks in town when the earthquake was happening.
Un earthquake, lo sentí, me despertó. ¿Qué clase earthquake? La casita se sentía como si estaba.
So like I said, this was like a wave, like almost like a rocking motion. So that's what caused this like crazy lateral motion in the water tanks that caused them to spill over. All right, now I want to show you guys a little bit of footage of sinkholes. So this one looks to have been, I think, at one of the hotels. The person who sent it to me said they thought it was a golf course, but if you look carefully, you can actually see what appears to be beach chairs on the water kind of in the distance. and what looks like a hotel building over to the right. So I think this was at one of the hotels in town. Just showing you how some of the sinkholes formed in like totally random places. And then there's also this video, which this was sent to me on WhatsApp, and then I later also saw it on an I Felt It report. So I'm not sure where this actually originated. Please let me know if you want credit for this video, if it was you. But that said, this is showing a sinkhole in somebody's residential street. And it is spewing out seawater, is what was said to me when this video was sent to me. And that's really scaring people, because it's one thing for a sewage pipe to be affected and to be coming out of the ground. But when seawater is coming out of the ground, that means there's seawater traveling through all of these different caves and tunnels and passageways in the ground. And it's concerning because it means how secure is the ground we're standing on, you know? If you guys have ever seen pictures of aquifers in the US, you would probably be familiar with the idea that, let's say this is an aquifer and this is the ground up here, right? If you drain the water out of this aquifer, now there's nothing supporting that cave, and the ground above can actually collapse. And that's what causes massive sinkholes. That's a little bit of a concern, is like that these waves came in and pushed things through and kind of moved stuff underground that doesn't normally move, and maybe they're not, like, we don't, the scary thing is we don't know what's going on down there. So we don't know why seawater could be coming out of the ground in somewhere that's so far inland. So yeah, I'm gonna show also some pictures and other clips that I might be forgetting to talk about before the end of this video. But essentially what I wanted to share is that, one, we're okay. Luckily no major damage has happened. We did have our water shut off for quite a few hours last night. We actually ended up having to go to the grocery store to buy water because we had enough water bottles to drink if need be, but as per usual, like most Caymanians, we're very ignorant. Most humans are very ignorant, not just Caymanians. I'm not picking on us. But it's easy to become complacent when it's not hurricane season or whatever might be your local, emergency season. Maybe for you it's tornadoes, maybe it's blizzards, depends on where you live. I think everybody in every part of the world has, some behavior of Mother Nature's that we have to look out for. So for us, it's earthquakes and hurricanes. For California, it's earthquakes and fires. For Florida, it's tornadoes and hurricanes. Like, it's different everywhere. But when it's not emergency season for you, wherever you are, whatever that might be, please make sure you still always keep a store of water, of canned food, of emergency supplies. Always have extra batteries and flashlights in the house. Things like that. Candles, whatever you might need. Because we had enough bottled water for us to drink for the next few days, but when we realized that, we might want to flush our toilets as well, we were like, yeah, we should just always keep some giant jugs of water in the house. So we went out and bought a few, and that's something that we'll definitely be more mindful of going forwards, because it's not hurricane season. We're not used to just randomly getting earthquakes, but it's definitely a lesson that we should always be prepared for anything. And I would say that goes for anywhere in the world. I want to end this video by sharing this clip from Cayman Marl Road. If you guys are not familiar with Cayman Marl Road, I'm going to share more news stories and clips from their channel. I actually want to do an entire video sharing some Cayman news. I've been working on it, you guys. I'm excited about it. If you're not familiar with what Marl Road even means, it's kind of like, how do I explain it? You would say, oh, I heard that on the Marl Road. It's like gossip, right? Sort of like how you'd say it came down the grapevine. She's sort of like Cayman's TMZ. She'll release news as soon as she gets the tip. She doesn't wait. So just know that if you guys ever hear about something happening in Cayman, I definitely recommend checking out Marl Road first, because you'll probably get the latest report from a local through her. That said, it may not be verified at its first time of posting, which a lot of people down here have problem with. They're like, why do you keep posting things that aren't true? And she's like, no, I post the tips as I get them. I'm just here to share information with you guys, to share what people are telling me. Like, that information will already be leaking on Twitter and on Instagram, and people sending messages through WhatsApp and whatever. So at least this gives it a place where people can go to see the tip when it first hits the internet, and she always does update it when the official story comes out. That's kind of how Marl Road approaches things. They'll post a tip as soon as they get the tip, and then they'll post the update once they have the official information. Some people really dislike Marl Road. I don't have a problem with it. I need chapstick. Can't find my chapstick. Oh, here it is. I don't, ooh, wow, did you see this? Just jumped out of my hands. This is not chapstick, TM. Lip moisturizer. Anyways, where was I going with this? So yes, so Cayman's TMZ is Cayman Marl Road, and I'm going to post a video from her live stream last night, just sharing a little bit of an interview she did with a lady from the Brac. So the Brac is one of the sister islands. Cayman Islands is 3 islands: Grand Cayman, Cayman Brac, and Little Cayman. And this lady was on the Brac. And I just thought she had a really good perspective about how Cayman has a lot of work to do in the planning department, so that we're prepared for things like this in the future. I've done a few videos criticizing the government before, so I'm gonna not do that right now, but I'm gonna definitely say I agree with what was said by this lovely woman. And to check out Cayman Marl Road in the future, if you guys ever hear of something happening in Cayman, you know, some kind of emergency or whatever, and you wanna know, you know, if people down there are okay, you might see tips through Marl Road before you see them elsewhere.
And it was, I mean, I came out when we all came outside, of course, and I was standing leaning up against my car, and I was still swaying.
How do people feel? Like, what was the sense of, like, what were people saying in the back? How were they feeling?
It was mostly everybody was scared of the tsunami warning. That's what really kind of got everybody. Mm-hmm. And the freaking out over that. Mm-hmm. I have 5 goats. I have no idea what I would do in a tsunami with my goats, but this was a good trial run because now we're going to figure something out where they can get higher. So, but yeah, I mean, what would I do? Let them go? You know what? I don't know.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so everyone is okay. We understand that a lot of people went to the bluff. Were you one of those persons that went to the bluff?
Unfortunately not. I never leave my animals behind.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. I feel you.
I'm not in a hurricane. I wouldn't in an earthquake or I guess a tsunami. I don't know. This was a trial run, and this was a good warning for everybody. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be put in place for this, for another. This, we need to be more prepared.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're admitting on a personal level, you guys need to be more prepared. As a country, we probably need to be a little bit more prepared as well.
Yeah, because it's not so much the earthquake that scares you. I mean, that's going to rattle up your belongings and what have you. But as far as like the children and the old folks and the hospital and such, I mean, they knew what to, you know, of course, Public Works moved everybody and that was taken care of. But the tsunami thing scared a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And that I think is what there needs to be more preparation for.
Right. Right. Any structures or have you guys seen any sinkholes on the Brac?
Oh, yeah. When I was standing out in front of the bank, one of the girls that works there, her mother rents from me, and she was like, you have to get down to your place. There's smoke and water shooting out of a hole in the yard, and I mean, we're freaking out. And when I got down there, the whole fire service was there. The water authority was there. Everybody was there because I guess that was the first one we had seen over here. And it turns out there's been several.
Right.
On the Brac, but yeah, it was kind of scary, and it's right in the driveway of where people drive in. So I mean, like, we had to block it off and stuff like that. But
right.
You know, they just didn't know how to handle it, just like we didn't know how to handle it.
Right.
So,
just a fair warning for Instagram people, because Instagram only allows you to stream live for an hour, so that's going to end in about 49 seconds, but we'll continue going on Facebook for a few more minutes. So yeah, Debbie, so you guys are going to start putting some plans in place for the next one.
Yeah, personal wise, yeah, the goats have to be situated. I mean, unless we take them upstairs to my brother-in-law's apartment and just like see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You might want to talk to him about that one to see if he's up for that.
I don't think we need to warn him ahead of time.
Thank you so much for joining us from Cayman Brac.
Okay, so that's that. We're all alive and good. There was no tsunami last night. There might have been like a small wave similar to that little 4-foot one, but I wasn't that worried about it once they lifted the advisory. There's been a lot of aftershocks since the big quake. 17, I think, was my last count. Puerto Rico has been having basically like daily earthquakes since December. And their fault line is not that far from ours. I read a news story yesterday, I'll see if I can link it below, that basically talked about how they called it the battle of the fault lines, that they're like moving in different directions. So they were saying there's no substantiated evidence to prove that one is affecting the other, but it is kind of a crazy coincidence. I mean, Mother Nature acts in weird ways. It could be a crazy coincidence. So that's all. Thank you guys for watching. We're all okay. Thank you for your concerns. I had so many comments with people sending us positive thoughts and prayers and saying that they're glad that we're okay. So thank you guys so much for all of that warmth and love. It is felt and appreciated. And I'll see you in the next video.